Hey cycling friends, James with Team Finish Strong here. You know, if you're new to the channel, why don't you take a moment to subscribe? We got plenty of Zwift tips and other content for you, always coming out. And with that, let's dig into the top 10 features that Zwift should have, but doesn't. Number 1, Pace Partners. I think we're all in agreement that Pace Partner is one of the best new additions to Zwift. There's only one problem, however, and that is when you start a Zwift Pace Partner session, you're dumped in at speed with that Pace Partner. Now, granted, you're given 5 seconds to pedal, but if you haven't warmed up, it's just simply not enough time to get up to speed. How can Zwift remedy this? By giving Zwifters the option to start a pace partner session at any point in their Zwift experience. Or better yet, give us the option to switch between pace partners. That would be totally cool. Number 2, ride-ons. You know, for something so fundamental to Zwift, I'm really surprised they haven't gotten this one right. Ride-ons are one of the coolest features of the game. You know, it gives you a sense of community that you're really out there riding with thousands of other Zwifters. The only problem is, when someone gives you a ride-on, it is so hard to give it back to them because you literally have to take your mouse and go all the way over to the right-hand side and click that little ride-on button before it disappears on you. And if you don't, well then you got to go and find them and then give them a ride-on. And let me tell you folks, it should be as simple as hitting a key on the keyboard. Let's just make the R key on the keyboard as the ride-on key. If someone gives you a ride-on, just hit the R key and go about your business. Number 3, voice chat. I've been on many a group ride in Zwift where I wish I could talk directly to the other members of my group without having to text back and forth. In fact, it's a rare day you'll ever see me use that keyboard in Zwift on a live stream. With that said, there are tools out there like Discord that make this possible. The only problem is, if you've ever been in Discord, there's like 1,000 settings in there. And to be honest with you, I still haven't gotten it right after all these months. It'd be wonderful if the engineers of Zwift could incorporate some sort of functionality like this into the Zwift experience so people can literally just talk to each other like they do in real life. That'd be just so awesome. And you know, for that matter, that leads me very well into my next one, number 4, the Zwift Cafe. You know, in real life, one of the most enjoyable parts of the experience is to stop at a coffee shop and chat with your friends. Well, in Zwift, there's no place to do that, despite the fact that you pass a number of virtual establishments in the game. Now, wouldn't it be cool if some of these establishments were actually real places that you could stop at and have a virtual conversation with your friends? That'd be so awesome. And it'd also break up the monotony of the continuous pedaling that you have to do in the game all the time. Number 5, mass starts. Now, mass starts in Zwift are probably one of my biggest pet peeves about Zwift racing. And that's because mass starts benefit almost no Zwift racers. And while the A category is pretty much oblivious to this phenomenon, all the other categories are affected by this. And that is that with mass start races, you have upper categories racing with you, which means a very strong rider on a flat course can draft off of the category above them and pretty much guarantee a podium result. Drafting off of a category that you're not racing with contaminates the results of the entire race. So Zwift, you really need to do something about this. And the answer is simple. Just stagger the starts of the categories so that they don't race with each other. And that way, racing will be more enjoyable for everybody. Number 6, Zwift categorization. How many of you signed up for a Zwift race only to log on to Zwift Power and find a bunch of upper category riders riding in your event, in your category? Well, let me tell you, that can take the wind out of yourself, folks. And you know, just like with number 5, this is easy to rectify. Zwift, if Zwift Power can figure out which category a rider belongs in, so can you. The answer is simple. Enforce categorization so that folks can't sign up for events that's improper for them to sign up for. You're already doing it with the women's only events. Should be pretty easy to do it for categories as well. Number 7, drone view. I don't know about you folks, but as a Zwifter, I'm insatiably curious about some of the geographic features that Zwift puts into their game. You know, the makers take so much time to create all this detail, And it makes you wonder, what's just over that hill? Or where does that road or bridge go? Does it really go nowhere? Or is there a point to some of these things that we see in the game? You know, like the bridge in Tempest Fugit. It almost looks like there's a road up there that we could explore if we could just go off tarmac for a little bit. Unfortunately, we can't. Or like when you're going through the old ghost town, there's a glint of light at the top of one of the mesas that suggests Zwift put something up there. You know, or how about that really nice mansion that's parked up on those hills? I wonder if that's Eric Min's personal virtual residence. Perhaps we'll never know. Or maybe one day, Zwift will let us explore their worlds in full detail. Number 8, easier power-up activation. How many of you have come down to the final moments of a Zwift race only to have your sprint fouled up by poor power-up timing? Or worse, like me, you forget to hit the power-up altogether? Well, there's got to be a solution to this. And technically, Zwift isn't responsible for it, but what if there was a device that could let you hit your power-up with the simple push of a button? Well, late-breaking news is that there is actually a device now out there on the market. I'm going to put a link up there so you can link to the review. If you'd rather go the do-it-yourself route, I'm going to be putting out a video that will cover just that. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned to the channel. Number 9, coasting is not braking. Let me tell you folks, you'd think that'd be a no-brainer, but in the Zwift world, those two terms are interchangeable. I mean, let's face it, if you're in a bunch ride and you hit 0 watts and coast for a little bit, you're going to get spat out the back real quick. But on the other hand, if you actually do need to slow down on purpose, let's say for like a bike change in the jungle circuit, for example, there's no real way to do it. Now, there are some tricks that you can do to slow down more quickly, but there really is no braking function. Now, Zwift, how can you solve this? Well, you could just let people coast when they need to coast and brake when they need to brake. Have a separate braking function. Or better yet, for those who have to do a bike swap out in an event, have some hotkeys of the top, let's say 2 or 3 bikes that you want, so that at the press of a key, you can do a quick bike swap out. That'd be awesome. Last but not least, number 10, show me my friends. Now this one I would particularly love to see happen in Zwift because they're already doing it on the group rides. You see, the group rides have a really neat feature in that everyone in your group ride is highlighted in green in the rider list so that you know where your riders are. Better yet, you can also check the overhead map and see them there as well. But you know what? When you're out free riding in Zwift, you have no idea where your friends are. You could pass right by them and never know. And you know, if you did that in real life, that'd really be rude to pass by a friend and not wave or say hello. But in Zwift, it happens every day. Zwift, if you could extend this functionality to free riding, that would be great. Now, you don't have to have our entire followers list highlighted, but maybe just our favorites. It'd be easier for you, it'd be great for us. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Well, it's encouraging to see that some of these things are already starting to come about in Zwift. Now, hopefully, maybe we'll get some more of those wish lists granted. And you know what? Let's throw on top of it maybe some new worlds to boot. Well, that's it for here in Zwift. Take care, God bless, and finish strong, folks.